Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. Here at American Voices, we want to celebrate this great country. So after hearing about people who do wonderful things and people's life stories, we also want to celebrate the American experience. So each week, we invite authors to talk about a favorite sound in America. This time we hear from Rob Neyer, former ESPN columnist, and he's the author of many books, including Powerball, Anatomy of a Modern Baseball Game. Here's Rob Neyer.
Hi, I'm Rob Neyer. My favorite sound is that expectant conversational murmur that you can only hear at an old ballpark, usually in the lower deck, someplace like Fenway Park or Wrigley Field. And the distinction there is that the old ballparks have the upper deck hangs out over the lower deck so much farther than they do in the newer ballparks. So there's a different sound. All the people around you are talking to one another. That sound sort of combines and reverberates and has its own specific sort of feel that you just don't get in the newer ballparks. People aren't just talking about baseball, they're talking about everything. That's the beautiful thing about going to a baseball game is the chance to have a conversation with whomever you're with. Those are the parts of the game that I've always enjoyed the most. All those times in between when you're just sitting there sort of watching the game with one eye and you can pick out individual conversations, or you can just sort of let the general conversation, the collective conversation sort of wash over you. I am by nature probably somewhat more introverted than extroverted, and that said, I also enjoy being around other people and being in the middle of a crowd where everyone's at least somewhat focused on the same thing, in this case a baseball game, knowing that all these people share an interest with me. Maybe it's an interest in baseball, maybe it's just an interest in being out. One of the things that I feel, too, is this connection to history, because there was someone literally a century ago sitting in this same seat, or at least in this same spot, watching this same team play this same game on this same ground. The sound would have been very much the same in 1918 in Fenway Park, sitting in this spot, as it is in 2018. I think that it's easy or natural to believe that we're so incredibly different from the people who lived 50 years ago or 100 years ago. I don't really believe that we are. We have different things, of course, but we also, I think, have the same desires and fears and all the rest of it that they did in 1968 or 1918. Those people sitting at the ballpark watching the game were having the same thoughts about their favorite team and their favorite players and the same thoughts about their friends and their family and that we have now. So I feel a connection. That's one of the reasons why I love the old ballpark so much, because I think of the old ballparks as sorts of time machines where we can sit in that seat. It becomes much easier to imagine yourself watching Babe Ruth play when you're in Fenway Park, where Babe Ruth played.
That was Rob Neyer. His most recent book is Powerball, Anatomy of a Modern Baseball Game. And that's the last of our American Voices for today, but you can continue our conversation on Facebook, facebook.com/American Voices with Senator Bill Bradley. Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.